This conference will now be recorded.
In the previous session, we have discussed how to identify if a given context-free grammar is LR0 grammar or not by applying football 1 and football 2. So we shall just recap the previous procedure. We were given a context-free grammar, say G. Given this context-free grammar, we were trying to apply football 1, say F1. Football 1 is about proving that grammar is ambiguous in nature. So you have proved that grammar is showing ambiguity property. So if you are able to prove that the grammar is ambiguous, then eventually we deduced that grammar can no more be LR0. Alternately, instead of applying football 1, if the option is to apply football 2, in this case, we are trying to verify for the possibility of proper prefix of some randomly chosen string. So if you choose a random string which is belonging to a given language, if you assume that this random string is belonging to the given language, and if you are able to prove that there is some proper prefix for the given string which is randomly chosen, and this is also belonging to the given language, then finally we deduce that the language is no more LR0 or context-free grammar. It can no more be LR0. This was all about football 1 and football 2. However, when you take football 1, where you have eventually to prove that grammar is ambiguous in nature, so as to make sure that the grammar is no more LR0. If you are not able to prove that grammar is ambiguous, that is, if grammar turns out to be unambiguous in nature, then there is no way that you can say that such a grammar can be LR0. So this was a limitation of football 1. Now instead of ambiguity property, we opted for verifying proper prefix property of some randomly chosen string in a given language. And if there exists a proper prefix of a given string, which is also present in the given language, then you are able to say that the language is no more LR0. In this session, we shall look into another football, wherein we shall verify for the possibility of empty string derivable either directly or indirectly from start symbol. So if there is a possibility that using the start symbol of the grammar, if you are able to prove that start symbol of the grammar derives empty string, and this can happen either directly or indirectly, then you would figure out that the grammar can no more be LR0. So this is outline of football 3 that we will be discussing in this session. So here is football 3. Given a context-free grammar, say G, so if you have context-free grammar available at your hand, then if the start symbol of this grammar derives empty string either directly or indirectly, then you can say that grammar is no more LR0. So if you say that G is a context-free grammar, and that G has a start symbol, say yes, assume that S is a start symbol of the grammar. Now, if this start symbol derives epsilon directly, so if you have a production of the form S derives epsilon, which is directly available as part of the given grammar, then you can eventually say that grammar is no more LR0. Alternately, assume that S derives epsilon is not directly available in the grammar, but you are ultimately able to prove that S eventually derives epsilon using one or more derivation steps. So the symbol implies with plus over implies means that you are performing one or more derivation steps, one or more derivation steps. So if you are able to prove that start symbol of the grammar can eventually derive epsilon in one or more derivation steps, then we can say that grammar is no more LR0 grammar. So this is all about football theory. So in case you are able to prove that given start symbol can derive epsilon directly or indirectly, then the grammar cannot be LR0 grammar. Now, how to analyze such grammars and what is the procedure to be followed? This is what I was explaining in the previous slide. So, there are two steps that you can take into consideration here. The first step is about verifying for the possibility of deriving empty string directly by the start symbol. So, if you assume that S is the start symbol of the grammar and that there is a production of the form S derives epsilon, which is directly available in the given set of grammar productions, then you can say that grammar is not LR0 grammar. So if S is start symbol of the grammar and that there is a production of the form capital S derives epsilon, which is also belonging to the given set of productions of the grammar, then you can say that grammar is not LR0 grammar. So step one is about verifying if yes, if start symbol of the grammar directly derives empty string. So if start symbol of the grammar directly derives empty string, then you can say that the grammar is no more LR0. So if this property is satisfied, that is start symbol of the grammar directly derives empty string, then you can say that grammar is no more LR0 grammar. Now assume that this property was not satisfied. Then you can look out for the possibility of deriving epsilon indirectly using the start symbol. So if S derives epsilon production was not available directly for you, then in one or more derivation steps, if you are able to prove that S ultimately derives epsilon, then you can say that the grammar is no more LR0 grammar. So if you are able to prove that the start symbol of the grammar derives epsilon indirectly, then you can eventually deduce that the given context free grammar is not a LR0 grammar. So this is all about second property. So what is required is verifying if a given grammar can directly or indirectly derive the empty string. So in any one of the case, you can say that the given grammar is no more LR0 grammar. We shall now look into few examples to make the concept clear and apply football 3 to prove that the given grammar is not LR0 grammar. So in this case, we have productions of the form capital S, there is AS, SA, SB, capital S, there is SB, SA, and capital S, there is epsilon. So if you take this particular production, which is the third production, this is an example where S directly derives epsilon. So in this example, we have a production where start symbol directly derives empty string. So because start symbol directly derives empty string, you can say that this grammar is not LR0, or the possibility of this grammar to be LR0 grammar is completely ruled out. So you can say that productions of the form S derives SASB, S derives SB SA, S derives epsilon, makes the grammar non-LR0. Then here is another example to verify if the given grammar is LR0 or not. We have the productions of the form capital S derives AA, capital S derives A, we have S derives AA, we have S derives A derives A, A derives epsilon. Now verify if there is a direct production of the form S derives epsilon, wherein this says that start symbol directly derives epsilon. Unfortunately, there does not exist any production of the form S derives epsilon. So S derives epsilon is not directly available. So if S derives epsilon is not directly available, verify if there is any possibility of a production in the grammar such that S ultimately derives epsilon in one or more number of steps. So if you start with S derives, take the production of the form S derives A from second alternative confined to production of S. So you have S derives A happening to be holding good. Then you have another production of the form A derives epsilon. So there is a production of the form S derives A. There is a production of the form A derives epsilon. Now assume that you start the derivation process from the start symbol of the grammar. So if you start with S and then replace S by A, you have the sentential form as A. Now you start once again from A and then replace this A by epsilon. The application of production of the form A derives epsilon. Then this A turns out to be epsilon. This means that from S you have reached A. From A you have reached epsilon. That is, S was ultimately reaching epsilon using one or more derivation steps. This means that you are able to indirectly derive epsilon. Since you are able to indirectly derive epsilon starting from the start symbol of the grammar, therefore you can say that this grammar cannot be LR0. So the possibility of this grammar to be LR0 is completely rolled out, and then you can conclude that the grammar is not LR0. This is how you can apply football 3 to conclude the grammar is not LR0 without carrying out any laborious procedure or process. That is the advantage of this particular football. So remember that using football 3, you can definitely prove that a grammar is not LR0 if the productions are satisfying the properties or conditions of football 3. But the opposite is not true. with the application of football 3. If the grammar does not contain possibility of deriving epsilon either directly or indirectly through start symbol, we cannot come to the conclusion that grammar is LR0. We have to apply some other footballs or see for the possibility of such a grammar to be LR0 in a wider sense or wider perspective. So just know the limitation of this particular football. Now we have another example wherein the productions are S derives AS. This is the first production. And then we have another production of the form S derives epsilon. So S derives epsilon is a production which is directly deriving the epsilon. Since S directly derives epsilon, therefore the grammar cannot be LR0 because this grammar is having a production wherein start symbol of the grammar directly derives empty string. Therefore, this grammar cannot be LR0. Now we have another example wherein we have three productions. Capital S derives AS, capital S derives BS, and then capital S derives epsilon. So looking out at these three productions, S derives AS, S derives BS, and then S derives epsilon. This production, S derives epsilon, derives empty string directly because there is a production in the given grammar such that start symbol of the grammar directly derives epsilon. Therefore, you can eventually conclude the grammar not to be LR0 grammar. So this is how we apply football 3 to eventually prove that given language is not regular, I mean to say LR0 or given grammar is not LR0. Now we have another example wherein we have the productions S derives A derives AA, and A derives epsilon. We have the productions S derives A derives AA, and then A derives epsilon. So look out for the possibility of deriving epsilon directly via start symbol. So unfortunately, this grammar does not have a direct production, a direct production, wherein we were able to prove that given language is consisting or given production is consisting direct derivation of empty string. So since there is no production where the start symbol can directly derive empty string, so step 1 we cannot be applied here. Now verify for the possibility if start symbol can indirectly derive empty string. So if you start with S, you can replace S by AA through application of the production. S derives AA. So if you start from start symbol of the grammar and then apply production of the form S derives AA, we have the sentential form which is AA. And once we are at the sentential form AA, assume that you apply production of the form A derives epsilon and then replace the rightmost non-terminal. So application of A derives epsilon here would lead you to non-terminal A, wherein this A is now replaced by epsilon. So if you replace A by epsilon, it means that second A is replaced by epsilon, and that we have the sentential form which is A. Now assume that we apply A derives epsilon once again for this sentential form, then this A would be replaced by epsilon. This means that starting from start symbol of the grammar, we have ultimately derived epsilon in one or more number of steps. Since we are able to derive empty string using one or more derivation steps starting from start symbol of the grammar, therefore we can conclude that this grammar is no more LR0 grammar. Hence, the solution for this grammar is that it is not LR0. So, application of football 3 is really simple. You have to verify if the start symbol of the grammar is directly deriving empty string. And in case if it is not directly deriving empty string, at least look out for the possibility of a start symbol capable of deriving empty string in an indirect manner. So if you're able to show at least that the start symbol can indirectly derive empty string using introductions of the given grammar, then eventually we can say the given context free grammar is not LR0 grammar. So this is how we can apply football 3 to specify if a given context free grammar is LR0 or not. And this would be the end of session for LR03 with respect to football 3. Just it will take some time to revise what we have learned as part of this session. In this session, the objective was to identify or recognize if a given context free grammar is LR0 or not through application of football 3. And as far as football 3 is concerned, the implicit idea is to verify if start symbol directly or indirectly derives empty string. And in case start symbol is able to derive empty string, we can directly say that grammar is not LR0. Provided that this condition fails, wherein start symbol is not capable of deriving empty string directly, or if the given context free grammar productions do not contain start symbol deriving epsilon production, then we have to figure out if there is any possibility of deriving empty string via one or more derivation steps. That is by using several steps in the derivation process. In case we are able to prove that start symbol can derive empty string indirectly, that is using one or more derivation steps, then definitely we can stop there and declare that given grammar is no more LR0 grammar. This is how we apply football 1, football 2, football 3 for verifying if given grammar is LR0 or not. This session was more about football 3, and in the coming sessions, we shall extend the discussion of these footballs to form a generalized procedure wherein by applying that particular generalized procedure, we will say if a given grammar is LR0 or not.